Hello. Hi. So, you must be Brittany.
Yes, hello.
Yes. And then you're Amelia.
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice
Vandy.
to meet you.
All right. So
Vandy, is
I
that how you pronounce it?
that's right, Vandy. Yes, it's like
Okay, all
Mandy
right.
with a V. It's a family
Oh,
name. So,
I just
I
want to
know.
step in and I just want to
Yes.
step in and say hi, but I'm going to step out for the lesson if
Hi.
that's okay, unless you
Oh,
want me
great.
here.
No problem at all.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
It's nice to meet you. And
You
then,
too.
were you going to send me a link to like Venmo? What do we talk about
Sure.
payment?
Yeah, Venmo's great. I'll do that.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome.
Have fun.
Sounds good. All right. So I know a little bit about you and what your goals are from your mom, but I also like to hear a little bit from the student individually because sometimes you might have a little bit of different insights on what your goals are, and maybe different perspectives on that. So just kind of as we're starting, what are some of your main goals for our sessions, ways that you would like to see these go, things you would like to achieve? So, how do you kind of see these moving, and what are some of your primary goals and focuses here?
Okay, so I'd say my primary goal is definitely like the focusing on acting part, like not
Mhm.
necessarily while singing, but like just
Yeah,
like sides and scenes and stuff because I can sing, and so like my directors kind of just like focus on the kids who struggle a little bit more, and so I don't really have that one-on-one time to work on acting. And
sure.
so she's kind of a you're good enough, and so
Oh,
it's just kind of like we got to help the kids who need the most work. But I
yeah.
started doing like community theater.
Nice.
I think that that's helping a little bit.
Mhm.
But and obviously like when you're first starting, like it's kind of awkward to act just in front of your directors and
Mhm.
especially like if it's a love interest or something. So yeah, just really
Sure.
focusing on like acting skills and whatnot because I've never really had that learning opportunity.
Yeah. Good. So you're in community productions, community theater productions, and then you're also doing maybe musicals at
Yes.
school. Yeah. So would those be the main contexts that you're going to be using this? Um,
Yes.
and then do you have like specific auditions that you want to work towards? Do you have specific skills within that you want to be working on that you maybe have noticed that certain things are a little bit more of a struggle and other things are a little bit easier? Um, like, do you have particular roles that you can identify and say, this is a dream role? So, any like more specifics, or is it just kind of generally you wanting to get better at acting? Because that's okay too.
Okay. Well, this January, I have an audition for
Mhm.
Wednesday in the Addams
Yes.
Family for my community theater. And it's
Yeah.
already a role that I've had, so I kind of know what to expect a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just had an audition for Cinderella. And so that's kind of already happened. I got the role. So I think now it's just kind of a more in general, just kind of focusing on it all. Because
Yeah.
I don't really, like, yeah, I think that's about it.
Good. So, with the audition process, are you pretty comfortable with that process as a whole?
Well, the way that they do it is definitely different than the way that my high school does it.
Hmm.
Um, we have for high school we have to memorize the side, like you can practice in advance, you practice the
Yeah.
song, and we do a song from the show. But
Hmm.
then they just do 60 seconds of a song and then they give you the sides. And so it's kind of like, I guess it's easier now that it's a role I've already experienced, but whenever it's a role that I've never had before, it's just kind of I'm getting thrown into it. I don't know how to properly like act when I'm reading a side for the first time. And so it's like
Yeah.
kind of intimidating with that.
Sure. Is it sides that you have ahead of time, or is it sides that you get in the moment?
Yeah, they last year for Annie, I auditioned and they just kind of laid sides out on a table. It's like, okay, come pick them up, like whatever sides you want,
Oh.
like. And then they even had me be like, I practiced two sides of Annie just so that I could read one. And then they're like,
Mhm.
okay, go grab this side. And so I didn't even get to prepare. I just went and grabbed it and I just
Oh,
jumped in. And I was like, oh my gosh.
right. And then you're just reading out loud, like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So definitely working on cold reads for sure. So though that's just like you get a script and they're like, go. and
Yeah.
you just have to in the moment wing it. Yeah, that can be really intimidating. Do you have
Yeah.
any certain emotions that maybe are easier for you to connect with and act and portray, and then emotions that maybe are more challenging?
I am definitely way better at the like sarcasm, like dry humor, funny stuff, because that's just kind of who I am naturally. And so it's really
Yeah.
easy for me to just kind of like not crack a smile or whatever. But then I kind of struggle with like the more emotional stuff. Um,
Mhm. Sure.
so that's why like our main focus is like the Cinderella aspect. Like she's kind of way different than Wednesday, and that's like the role I just came out of. So just kind of like
Right.
distinguishing the two and kind of like jumping into her more like delicate emotional stuff like that.
Right, that they're very,
Yeah.
very different characters.
Yeah.
So being able to be flexible and
Yes.
adjust like that and go, okay, I'm not going to act these the same way. I do,
Yeah.
I do know a few people that they're kind of one trick ponies and they do what they do very well, but they only really ever play one type of character
Yeah.
and they still, get hired a lot and do very well with that. But I do think that the more versatile you are, the better and the more you're going to be able to get cast,
Okay.
especially as a female just because it's more competitive as a female. There are usually more male roles and fewer male actors auditioning. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
the more flexible you can be, the better. All right,
Okay.
great. So focusing more on stage acting,
Yes.
focusing more on musicals, it sounds like, than straight
Yes.
theater. Um, Getting really good at cold reads, which means just in the moment, just being able to pick up a script and just run with it and do something
Yes.
good with it. Um, Probably also working on being directable. So, what that means is they give you a comment and you're able to just quickly adjust what you're doing. So, that can really help as well when you're in the audition process, particularly with those cold reads, because you'll go through it once and then often they'll say, "Hey, can you do it again, but do it like this?" And they'll give you some direction. So being able to show them that you can take that feedback and change your approach and adjust, that would be a good thing to, get better, polish up.
Right.
Um, and then it sounds like too, just being able to change emotions, being able to change the characterization, the way that you're approaching the character and kind of building the character, making the character different than your natural default as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Great. So for Wednesday, um, this one is the one where they just say do 60 seconds of any song and then they'll give you sides in the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're preparing your song already. I would say that being able to act that song really well is a
Yeah.
great opportunity for you. So I would really strongly recommend taking your song and practicing it like a monologue so that then you can really connect to the character and be able to express that. I feel like a lot of the time people miss that opportunity of that's a chance to let your acting shine as well. So
Right.
they're not just hearing you sing in that moment, they're also seeing you turn yourself into a character, be able to connect and communicate and be in that scene. So I think that's a great opportunity moment for you. So I would definitely recommend preparing that song as thoroughly as you would a monologue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a question. So like
Yeah.
the music director has like talked to us to make sure I'm auditioning for Wednesday, and he it's really important to him that like he pulled is like his favorite song in the show. And so he really wants someone to be able to belt it. So should I choose a song that really focuses on belty, or should I pick a song that like has some belt but is more like the Wednesday character? Do you think it necessarily matters like the acting involved in the song, or just like a song where I can act?
So, do you know specifically that he wants Wednesday to be more of a belty character?
Yes, specifically for Pold, just
Hmm.
because it's a really powerful ending. So he wants to make sure
Yeah,
that.
that you can handle that. Yeah. Um, so do you feel like, so what I would say is pick a song that you feel like you can really knock out of the park. So
Okay.
if you feel like it's a really, big belty song that you just do okay, and then there's another song that's like a lighter belty song, but you can nail it, I
Hmm.
would say go with the one that you can nail. Um,
Okay.
so if you feel like you could do either very well and you're very comfortable with that, if you know that they specifically have asked for a belty song, I probably would go with that. If you're like, I got this, easy, you're very comfortable with it, I'd probably just go with that because you know that they specifically want to hear that.
Okay.
Um, Another thing I would say though is you could do the lighter belty song, but then plan for the callback to be able to show them Wednesday's actual song. So
Okay.
prepare that as well. So maybe go in with a different song that you feel like, oh, I can really show my acting. It's a lot like the character, and it's like a lighter belt song, but then have like a cut, of the ending, like a big moment of, the really belty song that they specifically commented on, prepared to show them in the callback. So I think that's kind of a judgment call on your part to go, what do I feel like is going to showcase this the best? The music
Okay.
director definitely does have a hand in choosing who gets the role. However,
Okay.
I would say that the director has equal, if not more, sway. So being
Right.
able to show that characterization is going to be just as important, if not more so. So,
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
I might do, choose the song that I feel like showcases that character and then just prepare to sing the really belty song as well in a
Okay.
callback. If they said, hey, can you do this one as well? Can you sing part of this? Being ready with that.
Okay.
And you could maybe even, if you know them, maybe just let the music director know that you are also practicing and preparing Wednesday's songs. But I think usually in callbacks, they'll just ask for it if they want it, and they just
Okay.
assume that you've researched the character.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah. And I mean, even if you were at an audition and you went, oh, I'm sorry, I just found out about this audition yesterday and I, haven't prepared those songs. They might say, that's okay, like go in the hall for 5 to 10 minutes and go listen to them and come back and sing part of it. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think picking something that shows the character is equally, if not more important. So yeah,
Okay.
because ultimately the storytelling is the key element to it. It's the more important element, though we do
Mhm.
love the singing. So
I
yeah.
think I was gonna try and sing "Nothing" from Chorus Line
Okay.
because I can belt that song really well. It's comfortable. It's
Yeah.
not like shiny, but
Hmm.
I like. She also kind of has a bit of sass into it.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I'll
Yeah.
look around and see what else I can find instead.
Yeah. If you were going to do a bigger belty song, do you know what you would pick?
I don't know. Yeah.
You could
Um,
do a song from the show. I usually personally err away from that.
yeah.
But if you did do the song from the show, you want to really nail it and have it down.
Right.
Um, there's no question of, who you want to play if you do that. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, throwing all your eggs in one basket and just, going for a
Hoping it
home
goes
run.
well.
Um, but my caution with that is that if I don't sing it the way they want to hear it, they sometimes will discard it, and be like, oh, like you sang it differently than I want to hear it. So it's kind of a gamble.
That
So I
makes
usually
sense.
recommend picking a song that's very similar in style, similar in characterization, but that isn't actually from the same show. So one of the things I'll do is say, okay, who played Wednesday Addams on, Broadway or in London, and what else have they played? And then I might go look at other characters they've played that are similar. So let's say I was auditioning for Galinda. But I don't want to sing a song from Wicked. They're overdone in
Right.
auditions, and so I'm auditioning for Galinda. I might sing My New Philosophy from You're a Good
Okay.
Man, Charlie Brown, because that would be a character that Kristen Chenoweth did play. It also is pretty similar in style to Popular, right? So it's something that's very similar that kind of showcases that style, that personality of that original person who played it. So I can use that. You can also just look at maybe like other things that composer has written, or if it's like a Disney show, just pick some other Disney show, that kind of thing. So something really similar in style. Um, I would say nothing does tend to be a little overdone.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Even though it is an older show at this point, I would say it still is a little bit overdone. Um, I don't know that anyone else would do it for the audition, but I just tend to err away from songs that tend to be overdone just because I don't want to risk getting there and having someone else do the same song, or like heaven forbid, like back to back, the person right before you sings the same song.
Right.
I actually, one time I was like, oh, no one else will do this song. Like, there's no way. And then my friend, fortunately, who was a boy, it was a duet in the show, sang it right before me. And I was like,
Oh my
really?
God.
And he was like, I didn't think anyone else would do it either.
Yeah.
But he was like, but you sounded great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
He's
hard for
like,
me to
thanks,
distinguish
guys.
stuff like that because I'm in a town where musicals aren't really like a big thing. Like they even thought my directors thought about doing Chorus Line, but it's like the tickets wouldn't sell really well because it's not like a musical that people think of. And so it's like, man, I'm not gonna see that one. And so I just kind
Yeah.
of assumed it wasn't a very popular show. Like I'm not really surrounded by that, I don't know, the kind of atmosphere. I don't really have that opinion. So it's really nice to hear you say that.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of like, hmm. I'm trying to think of songs that might be good for this. I was thinking I'm gonna type like a list in the chat of some
Okay.
possibilities. Um, in short, from Edges, I think might be a good one. I was thinking you could do The Dark I Know Well from Spring Awakening, but instead of singing it like you would in the show, you could do it like that you love the nighttime and the dark and like everything creepy. So you could like change the characterization to it. Um, Why Not Me from Carrie could be a good option. So I have a few ideas for like songs that I feel like would be good for this character. Um,
Okay.
that just would kind of showcase.
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
Krista Rogers.
What else might be a good option? Yeah, and you can go like listen to things and see what you think. I just tend to try to steer clear of anything that's overdone because sometimes too, like they're just like, oh, I hear this song all the time.
Yeah,
And you just don't want
like,
any kind of like negative context. Um,
yeah,
I do have a monologue that used to be overdone, like in the 80s. It was way overdone, and people were like, never do this in an audition. But nowadays, no one does it. So, like, I did that for an audition, and like, the lady was like, oh my gosh. She was like, this is such a good monologue. And man, I haven't heard it in like 20 years. And I was like,
yeah,
whew. Because I was like, it's kind of a risk to do it because I had a teacher be like, "Oh, it's like a no-no to do this one." He was like, "You do it
yeah.
so well though." And then I did it and the lady was like, "I love this show." And I was just like, "Oh, thanks." Um so like that I feel like can work well. Um another that could be good thinking so yeah, I would maybe go just like listen to some of these and
Okay, yeah, I will.
yeah. So in short from Edges, I said Safer from First Date could be a possibility. I'm trying to like look at options. One that's like a little more belty that could be fun is Live Out Loud from A Little Princess. Um, mm, I feel like you could do this one too, pretty funny from Dogfight. Okay. Yeah, I feel like yeah, that gives you a lot of songs to look at.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, just like a way to kind of get started. And I do feel like of this list, Live Out Loud is probably the most done in
Okay,
auditions, but I feel like you'd be fine with it.
okay,
Um, it's not one that I really hear people be like, oh, never do that in an audition. I do hear people do it in auditions, but I don't feel like it's crazy overdone. It's a great song, but yeah,
okay.
it's a little more belty. So yeah, that just gives you like some ideas there to dive in. Okay, so then acting wise, unfortunately, you just show up and they're like, do something. One thing that's great to try to do is if you can get the script ahead of time and study it and find like moments that are kind of iconic moments and practice some of those lines if you can get your hands on the script and, practice reading the lines out loud and, do some scene study ahead of time, that's great. Even if you don't have that, doing some character work ahead of time can be great. So, for Wednesday, so we know that you're auditioning for Wednesday, particularly. They might have you read for some other characters. That's okay too.
Okay.
You just kind of do the best you can, and, we'll work on cold reads as well. But if you were going to say, like Wednesday personality traits. If someone said, "Tell me about Wednesday Adams," what would you say? Like, is she ambitious? Is she bitter? Is she cranky? Is she determined? Is she enthusiastic? Is she flirty? Like, what are characteristics of her that you would like define her as being?
I feel like the biggest one is just dark,
Yeah.
definitely. Like I said earlier, she's very like kind of sarcastic-y, kind of like
Hmm.
um
Which is great because you're like, okay, I can like be more
yeah.
myself with that. Yeah.
Like she's a very blunt. Like she just kind of says things.
Yeah.
Um, hmm,
I feel like she can be kind of bored with things
yeah.
that she's just like, ugh, like um like she'd rather be somewhere else all the time.
Definitely.
Um she also I feel like can be kind of disgusted like if she goes to something and it's like girly and pink and frou-frou and she's just like ew, like she has
And then
this
she
kind
shows up
of
in a yellow dress. Like what?
yeah. Or like even with affection, she can just be like, "Ew, please don't touch me," you know.
Yeah.
So maybe like a little standoffish, would you call
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, she's kind of a rebel. Like she
Yeah.
beats to her own drum. Um, I think of her as like very like sharp, quick-witted.
Hmm.
Like I think she's really smart. I also think she's observant. Like she notices everything.
Yeah.
Mm. I don't necessarily feel like she's mm, like I don't think she's really like a an evil person or anything.
Oh,
You know, like she's not really like a mean person. I don't see her as
daring.
uh, daring. Sure, yeah, like
Yeah.
bold, daring.
Yeah.
Um she just like doesn't feel the need to impress anyone or pretend to be, better than she is or mm, daring. I would say she's honest.
Hmm.
Like she definitely isn't disingenuine, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like some of the same characteristics of Elphaba, like she can kind of be
Yeah.
similar in character. But Elphaba, I feel like is a lot more insecure, whereas Wednesday is very confident in who she
Yeah.
is.
My
Um,
mom suggested that I sang Wizard and I, but I'm kind of like that one's gonna be way overused now that the movie has come out. Like I feel like I should steer
yeah.
away from that.
Right. I feel like too, Wicked pretty much since it originally came out is just a no-no in auditions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing it for a recital or a concert, a cabaret, a talent show, anything like that, it's fine. It's more of an audition no-no. And I mean, if you have a song that's overdone that you're like, I do this so, so well, I will do it better than anyone else who does it at the audition. It's okay to do it, but it still is kind of just a general rule that we don't do things that are overdone. Um,
My mom's eavesdropping, apparently.
oh,
She just
that's
said,
okay.
ask her about Why Not Me from Carrie. I've never heard that one before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Why Not Me from Carrie? Yeah, that's one of the ones that I had put in the list as a possibility. Um,
Oh, is it in the
yes.
chat?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we're thinking on the same
Yeah.
lines there. So I think we have some good descriptive words for Wednesday. Dark, sarcastic, blunt, bored, disgusted, standoffish, rebel, sharp, quick-witted, observant, daring, honest, confident. Um, I feel like she can be pretty loyal. Like I feel like
Yeah.
some of these could be kind of seen as negative, but I feel like Wednesday has a lot of really redeeming qualities as well. Um, that she's like I kind of see her as like very fashionable. She just is like
Yeah.
quirky with her fashion.
Yeah.
And I feel like she can be a very loyal person. So I feel like there
Mhm.
are really positive characteristics to her as well. Um, do you feel like she's more like clean and tidy, organized, or is she more like sloppy, messy?
I feel like she'd be more like sloppy, messy,
Yeah, that she's like that kind of
like
ties
kind of
into the
careless, kind of
rebel
like,
kind of thing. And like in
Yeah.
contrast, like with her roommate on the TV show and stuff, like her roommate, I feel like would be very tidy and like everything in order and like everything's where it needs to be. And then I feel like Wednesday might even just be messy to be annoying, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just to like, um, you know,
Enid is
um,
her name.
yeah, yeah. Um, I see Wednesday as also being like a very powerful person
Yeah, definitely.
and like a strong person. Um, I think she's also very determined, would be
Hmm.
another way I would describe her. So we've got a lot of good descriptive words. And then what I like to have people do is go through and try to act out these descriptions. Not necessarily trying to embody Wednesday yet, but just like what that looks like on you. Like if
Okay.
you were like what part of you would come across as like dark or sarcastic or blunt or bored? How does
Okay.
that look on you? If I am a loyal person, what do people see if I'm being loyal or if I'm being fashionable or I'm being sloppy or I'm being powerful or I'm being determined, right? And
Hmm.
that's going to look different on different individuals. So, Meisner said that acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So, finding a way to figure out like the truth of what am I like when I'm confident, when I'm honest, when I am observant, right? So, acting those out kind of improvisationally, you know, characteristically figuring that out. So things like how do I stand? How do I gesture? What would I say? Right? So if I'm being rebellious, what would my face look like? What might I say in that moment? How would I gesture? How would I stand? How would I walk? How would I turn? And it's just kind of exploring these words of what does that look like on me? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so I
good.
want you to try dark, just sort of acting that out. Like, how would your posture change? How would your, how would you hold your head? How are your arms going to gesture if you were a dark person?
I feel like when I did, I liked like to look down and like
Hmm.
look through my eyebrows because I
Hmm.
saw Jenna Ortega said that like that is what topped off her Wednesday, and
Hmm.
so it's just kind of like the posture of like the head down. I don't know. I feel like her posture is just very like upright, like you said, confident, kind of tying that into it, and just kind of like relaxing the arms in like a weird manner, like
Hmm. Yeah.
I feel
Hmm.
like or like down.
Yeah. I also feel like Wednesday is like a very intense person as
Yeah.
well. All right. So dark. I think that when we lift our chin, it's actually more of like a defensive um way of protecting ourselves in the world. But when we can drop our chin and it's like you're looking down on someone. It's like kind of
Okay. Yeah.
condescending. Um and it's like people do that when they're judging you, like a teacher being like, you know.
Yeah. Like she's definitely a little judgmental.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Judgmental. That's another good word for it. Yeah, but thinking of like dark, um, she's not like being all like friendly and like smiley. She's
Mhm.
like, straight
Great
faced.
face.
Her chin's
Yeah.
down. She's like looking you through her eyebrows and is like judging you. And, like you said, like she has a nice straight back tall posture but she's like relaxed within that. Um, but like the darkness comes through in that judgmental stare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So then sarcastic. If Wednesday was being sarcastic, like how would she gesture? What might she say? How would she move for that?
It's hard because like I feel like from like what I've seen, her demeanor doesn't really change a whole lot. It's just like
Mhm.
her tone and how she like says things. Like
Yeah.
trying to think of a specific example from the script. I wish I had it. Um,
And I mean, we could also pick just like a single word that you just say in these different ways. So,
mhm,
like, you could just do hello. Like, you can say hello like you're happy to see someone. You can say hello like, who invited you to my party? Leave. I don't want you here. You can
yeah,
say hello like, I can't hear you. Can you say that again? You can say hello like you're really sad and you really need a hug and you need to be comforted. So, that can be many different ways, right?
right.
So, and actually, a Meisner principle, since we just touched on him, is that the words don't matter. What matters more is what you do. So, how you act, body language, facial expression, all of that, that is actually more impactful in communication. So, I remember a friend coming to a recital when I was in school, and I did music that was not in English, and they said I
Yeah,
had no idea what you were saying, but they said you so clearly did, and they said it was captivating. I could not look away. He was like, I was so glued to you. He was like, that was amazing, and he just was like, I still don't know what you said, but it was
yeah,
just like you knew what you were saying and it was just like I was just in it with you the whole time. And I was like, thank you. That's like a really
yeah.
big compliment. So so if you can get that same kind of intensity with your emotions, that it's like the words don't even matter. People know exactly what your intent is just by looking at you, just by the tone of your voice. Yeah. So let's try hello. And I want you to say it in a really dark way.
Hello,
Good. And then let's say it like you're being really sarcastic.
hello,
Good. And now like you're being blunt.
hello,
Good. Now like you're bored.
hello,
Now like you're disgusted.
hello,
Good. Yeah, your facial expression was really good. Now like you're being standoffish.
hello.
Yeah, you're like, I do not want to engage.
Oh,
Now like you're being rebellious.
that one's hard. Oh, I don't know that one. For hello,
Like if your mom told you to do something that you really don't want to, she's like, you're going to our family member's wedding and you're going to be nice and wear this pretty dress. And you like do not
hello.
want to. Or you're like, your teacher is like, you're going to do this. And you're like, no, I'm not.
That's
Yeah,
like, yeah, like hello.
exactly. That you're like, I don't think so. Um,
No.
Now like you're being really sharp.
That was hard too because it's like a snappy comeback. Like,
Yeah.
hello. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly. Yeah, like you're almost like stabbing them with a needle with your word,
Yeah.
right? Then let's try quick-witted.
Hmm. I don't know.
So like other people are talking and you say like a little quip that's like kind of funny and that you just like think of one of those very like witty, clever responses.
It's hard not to be repetitive with them, like making them all sound different, you know?
Well, I think they can be similar. Like I feel like quick-witted and sarcastic and sharp could all be similar.
So like, hello, like type of thing. It's like,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of like stating the obvious when no one else does kind of a thing could be. Yeah. Observant, if she's being observant.
like hello.
Yeah. I feel like she can also be really suspicious at times.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what about daring? If you were being like bold and daring.
Hello. Like in your
Yeah,
face.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. You're like picking a fight.
Yeah.
Like a little dog being like, back up
Yeah.
off
Barking
my
at
owner,
you.
right? If you're being honest.
Yeah. Like that kind of drops the mood a little bit. Like hello. Like,
Yeah,
like they're straightforward,
right.
just to
Yeah.
the point.
Yeah, I think she is. Like she's not really like all the frills. She's just like,
Mm-mm.
here's the facts. Yeah. Confident.
I'm like I gotta change the posture of this one. Like hello. Like assertive.
Exactly. Yes. Like you're like,
Yeah. Like
yes. Strong character. Um, loyal.
I feel like that one kind of goes with like honest and genuine. Like hello.
Mhm.
Like just kind
Yeah.
of no
Yeah.
up like a fake face.
Yeah.
Like
And I see her honestly as like being a really good friend. Like I think if someone was like, "Oh, you're such a good friend," she'd be like, "Ugh." But at the same time, like I think what she does shows
mhm.
that she is a good friend.
Yeah.
You know, and like with her family and stuff, they love her so much. They're so proud of her. Like
Mhm.
you can just see that she, and I think that's part of why she is so strong, that she has such amazing support and encouragement. And, so even though she is like this dark, sarcastic, like
Yeah.
character, like I think part of it is that she is so loved and she
Yeah.
has the strength to be her own unique self because of that, and having a family that loves and supports her so much then kind of carries into her friendships, that she's
Yeah.
just as loyal, just as supportive, just as you know in her own way, a good friend.
Not
um
even
yeah. Fashionable.
like kind of like preppy, like hello. Like
Yeah, like, because I feel like she, like when she puts on her dress for the dance, like, how does she feel in that? She feels awesome. Um,
yeah.
sloppy.
Hmm.
I feel like this is kind of like the
Well,
rebellious thing, like, psh, who cares kind of a thing, that
mhm.
she's like, I like spider webs, leave it, it's art.
Yeah, definitely.
Cobwebs and dust bunnies are my best friends,
Like
you know?
hello.
Powerful.
That one's definitely like the same as the confidence, like hello. Like
Hmm.
she's just there and her presence is just
Yeah.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like she doesn't even need words,
No.
to be scary and powerful.
Yeah.
Actually, that's another good word. She can be really scary sometimes. Strong.
I should this again. I don't know. I feel like I don't want to sound so repetitive, but like the same. It's like hello. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Well, yeah,
I'm
you
strong.
projected
Yeah.
more there. Yeah, yeah. How about determined? You've like set your mind to do something and you cannot be stopped.
Hello. Like
Yeah,
kind of like the blunt one.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about intense?
I feel like that one kind of goes with dark, like hello. Like very in your face. Like very it's a lot.
Yeah. Good. And then what about judgmental? If you were being judgmental of someone, like a peppy cheerleader
Oh.
goes by being like, come to the pep rally. Like, how would you say hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did it
Yeah,
less
like
when you were
if you
talking
were
like
Wednesday, yeah.
oh.
Yeah, yeah, that you're just like,
Yeah,
yikes.
like get away
Yeah,
from me.
right. Yeah, she would just be like, I'm going over in the corner away from this. Suspicious.
Hello. Like question mark.
Yeah, like, do you have something you want to confess?
Yeah.
Scary. I
Like,
feel like she
hello.
likes being scary sometimes. Yeah, like she
Yeah, like she
delights in
finds
it.
enjoyment in it. Yeah.
Like she would just like be in a coffin and the door would open in the dark and she'd be like, hello, like and just
Yeah.
really enjoy it. And then have someone
Yeah.
scream and she'd be like, all the
Yeah. Like
day's
I get
work.
that.
Defiant.
Mm, like, hello. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
no.
That she's like telling him off a little bit. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a script. And so we're gonna practice a cold read. So this is a monologue based on Wednesday. It's a little too long to send in the chat. Okay, there we go. All right, so first, so before you do any cold read, try to take time to just kind of mentally like scan through it, see what's happening, ask yourself things like, where am I? Who am I? Who am I talking to? How do I feel about that person? What do I think happened right before this? What am I planning on doing right after this? What do I need or want in this moment? Yeah.
Okay.
So just kind of reading through, processing what's going on.
No. It's okay. I'm reading a monologue. Snooper.
It's okay. She's just so excited for you.
She's very excited. She loves that I'm not reading this stuff. Is this from the show?
It's actually not. It's just like one that I found that
Oh.
somebody wrote. So,
Oh,
it
okay.
is a little bit different. But I feel like it's good to practice with. It was like
Yeah.
somebody
It's
just
just
wrote it based on her.
because I
Um,
saw Uncle Fester, I was like, oh, what?
yeah, right. Um, so I feel like you could be talking to your roommate, a friend, your mom. Like I mean, I guess not mom, maybe like a neighbor, a teacher, a counselor that you were forced to go to. So, okay, so you're gonna make a choice about who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and what you want in this moment.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And then, um, so think of like what your emotion is before you start, and it can change throughout, but like what you're gonna start with, and then what it is that you're trying to get in this moment. Do I want to be comforted? Do I want a confession or an apology? Uh do I want my boyfriend I've been dating 7 years to propose? Do I want my teacher to give me an A who gave me a C on my paper? Do I want my mom to give me permission to go on the school field trip, right? So like what is it you're trying to get here? Um like do I want them to be scared of me? Do I want to make a new friend? Do I want, so what is it that you're trying to get here? Um, and go after getting that thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And that
Yeah.
first moment needs to be really strong, a really strong initial opening moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want me to say what I'm
You can, or you can just try it.
okay. Okay. They say life is precious, fragile, like a dainty little snowflake doomed to melt the moment it touches reality. I suppose that's true if you're a daisy, sniffling optimistic with an allergy to existential dread. Me, I find the fleeting nature of existence quite refreshing, like a funeral procession on a crisp autumn morning. The truth is, people spend so much time trying to prolong their lives that they forget to enjoy the best part of it, looming inevitability. Take my Uncle Fester, for example. He's been shocked by lightning more times than I've had to endure forced smiles at family reunions. He doesn't flinch at mortality, he embraces it, like an old friend with a twisted sense of humor. And that's what fascinates me about this fragile little snowflake we call life. It's unpredictable, chaotic, and just when you think you've got it figured out, snap, it's gone. Poetic, really. So, no, I don't fear death. I invite it to tea.
Yeah, good. Nice. Yeah. And that last line makes me kind of think that you could be responding to something like a question that
Yeah,
someone
I
has
think
asked.
Yeah, I think she's definitely like, I kind of thought of it like talking to the roommate. Like, I feel like a lot of people wonder so much, like, why is she like this? Like, why is she this way? So I feel like that's kind of the approach that I took about it. Like, she's kind of
Yeah.
explaining, answering the question.
I think you could also take it a very different direction. Like, ah, she's like kidnapped by an evil sorcerer or something. And then, she says this to them as like an epic speech
Mm,
before her friends bust in and they like conquer the evil guy or something.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I feel like you could do it like that with your friend who's like, Wednesday, aren't you like scared like of
Mhm.
death? I am. She's like, no, I'm not. And here's why, you know.
And I think
So that,
definitely kind of like what you said earlier about like trying to make people afraid of her. Like, I feel like
yeah,
she definitely wants that. Like,
yeah. Yeah, like I feel like too, um, like I was thinking you could do it like a class project and you're trying to like make the whole class scared of you or
yeah.
something. Um, Or like, we have a new student here today, and this is like your introduction to
Yeah.
everyone. Um, yeah, and you're like trying to freak them out.
Yeah, definitely.
Or like, same kind of thing. It could be like you're talking to like the cool like homecoming queen girl and her friends, like trying to freak them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, And, maybe she's like, "Oh, I hate Halloween. It's so creepy." And you're like, "I love it. Everything dark and spooky and scary and all of the skeletons and death. And she's
Yeah.
like, "You don't think it's scary?" You're like, "No." So I feel
Yeah.
like you could pick like different scenarios, but the thing I like about what you did is it feels more like authentic and natural, like a more vulnerable moment with your roommate who's a friend that you're connecting with.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a really sweet moment. But depending on what you want to showcase about the character to them, you can do the cold reads lots of different ways. So if I just tweak this circumstance a little bit, I change who I'm talking to, or I change where I am, or I change how I feel about the person, right? Like,
Mhm.
I say it to my mom when we're having like a heart to heart and I'm feeling really close to her. Or I say it to my mom at a time when I am furious with her. Or
Yeah.
I say it to my mom at a time when it's like we just had a family member pass away and it's like a sad time,
Mhm.
and maybe you're actually trying to comfort her because she's crying. So you
Yeah.
could tweak the circumstance to be able to show them whatever it is that you want to show them in that audition.
Mhm.
So when I'm doing a cold read, I like to kind of know what's coming up, obviously. But then what I do is I pick usually like a beginning, middle, and end emotion. And then I also pick what is my goal here. I'm trying to um, convince this boy to like me, or I'm trying to comfort my mom who's sad, or I'm
Okay.
trying to pick a fight with the school mean girl, or I'm trying to get an apology out of someone, you know? So So figuring out like what it is I'm going after. Yeah. So
Right.
this week I want you to practice cold reads. So what you're going to do is just look up like monologues for teen girls and just every day you're going to read a different one. And you're going to like
Okay.
read through it silently first. Be like, "Okay, who am I talking to? How do I feel about them? What do I need in this moment? What am I going after here?"
Okay.
And then just do it as a cold read. Yeah. And then to practice being directable, maybe just tweak the circumstance slightly and then change it when and do it one more time. So like if you did
Okay.
it like you're, new at school and you're making a new friend, but then they say, "Could you actually do it like you are mocking them?" And you're like, "Sure." So I'm the mean girl now. And then you say
Okay.
it like, "Oh my gosh, I love your bracelet." Ugh, so right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
more that attitude, right? So
Yeah.
that would totally change the circumstance. So practicing cold reads, playing with the circumstance changing. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So have fun with that this week. Great work
I
today.
will. Thank you.
Really fun to work with you,
Thank you.
Amelia. If
Yeah.
you are practicing and like you want any tips or anything, let me know. Did you
Okay.
get that list of songs at the top there?
Yes. I'm gonna make sure I took a picture of
Sure.
all of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna just like copy and paste the chat into text to your mom, I
Oh
think.
yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
That way, like you can look back at that as well.
Okay. Yeah. I took some notes too, so
Great. Okay, so oh, it only for some reason copied and pasted one of the songs. There we go. And then these as well. Okay. Oops. Sorry. It wouldn't let
no,
me
you're
do it in
fine.
like one big block. It's
Oh,
making
you're
me
fine.
like break it up. Your mom's gonna be like, "What is all this? My phone is
Yeah.
blowing up."
Well, she's probably been listening. She's probably had her deer.
She's like expecting it.
She's waiting.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that way if you like are like, "Did I get that all? What was that?" You can just look back
Okay.
and check it. And then I think she and I already scheduled the next couple out. Um, I think the next one she said would be virtual, and then we'd also meet in person. So,
Oh, okay.
all right. And here is that monologue as well if you want to practice it more. All right. Awesome. Great work today. It was wonderful meeting you. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing
Yes.
you again soon.
No, I'm excited. Thank you very much. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. We'll chat soon.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Yeah.